Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of EduMarketing with Ubrik. And this is our third episode. We have another special guest today. And before we actually see our guest, let us welcome her on the show today. So Amel, thank you very much for being here. And it's actually a pleasure to have you today with us. Just to give you guys a brief introduction, Amel is currently working as the marketing manager for Taaleem, which is an education service providing group, one of the largest in the UAE, with more than 31 schools and 28,000 students. Apart from that, the interesting fact is that Amel moved from the beauty and wellness space into educational marketing, and altogether she has about 8 years experience. She is also armed with a bachelor's degree from the Korea University in business management, and also Amel has a diploma in sales and marketing from the American University of Continued Studies in Cairo. Plus, another interesting fact is that she also has a bachelor's degree in the Korean language and literature. So let's also talk about that in our interview more in detail. So Amel, thanks again for being on our show today and welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, and let's see where this will take us.
So we want to know you more. Kindly describe your journey from your very first job to becoming the marketing manager at Taaleem.
So I think I was a bit fortunate to land my first job with Kaya Skin Clinic, which is one of the very biggest skincare clinics in the region. They have plenty of clinics in UAE, Oman, KSA. I worked there in 2015, directly after my graduation, as an assistant brand manager, and I stayed with them till 2021, which is approximately 6.5 years. This experience really shaped the marketeer who I am today, honestly, and I owe this a lot to Kaya Skin Clinic. After this, I decided to take a career break to take care of my 2-year-old monkey, and then less than a year later, decided to go back to the workplace. I started with Tavola, which is one of my very favorite retail stores. That was for a very brief time. Then I joined Taaleem in 2022, September 2022, which has been now a year. And despite being a very short period in my opinion, but again, I was lucky and honored to work on one of their biggest projects, which is the launch of the initial public offering on the Dubai financial market, which was a very unique experience. Not many marketeers go through it. And since then, as you know, Taaleem has been growing and expanding, so projects are happening all the time.
All the time, yeah. It's a busy place because it's expanding. The luckiest thing about working for a big company like this is there are a lot of new projects that are coming in.
Yes.
So there are a lot of investments to grow. So along with this growth also you get exposed to a lot of new skills.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
And you learn more about yourself. You help learning others.
Yeah.
And you can see the results of your work more often.
100%.
So yeah.
Yes. So it's quite satisfying for you.
Yes, it is actually.
Okay. So this is actually linked to our next question. Now, if I look at your career span, right, mostly you've been a brand marketer, then a general marketing person right now. So what do you like most about being a marketer? That's my first question to you, right? And also then what do you think are the aspects that marketing has helped you both professionally as well as from a personal aspect of things?
So I didn't plan to be a marketeer.
Okay.
But when I studied business administration, what actually fascinated me is the consumer behavior part of it, which is crucial in marketing.
Yeah.
Understanding consumer behavior and understanding market trends is the key for any marketeer to be creative. So
Yes.
a lot of people think marketing is about creativity.
Yeah.
If you are a marketing, give us an idea now, inspire us. But that doesn't come out of nowhere.
Definitely.
You have to have the information, the data to support you to actually build or create a marketing message that influences their decision. Blending both the analytical part and the creativity part is what I admire about marketing, which not people in other fields can do. In marketing, the thing that I learned the most important is to ask why. So asking why, because again, it feeds into the consumer behavior. Asking why let you know a little bit more about your consumer.
Definitely.
And not asking why the first time, asking why at least 3 times. So you ask the first why and you get a very generic answer. The consumer thinks this is the real reason why they are taking that decision. But you ask at least 3 whys and you get to the real decision-making factors. So, for example, if we decide to ask a consumer about why they are sending their kid to X school, they would say because I live in that area. But when you ask, okay, like for example, if we are saying Dubai British School, Jumeirah, because I live in Jumeirah, and then you ask them why Dubai British School in Jumeirah, and they say because it's a British curriculum that is known to be like well structured. The British schools are always having kids with good manners. And then you ask, but why Dubai British schools? And then they may answer saying, because it has legacy, they have other 2 branches. And then you get to understand this is their core value. They are looking for something that they can trust, that they deliver. So based on that, you can then start having a message that's about the legacy of Dubai British School, for example. And that applies to literally everything. So asking why enables you to actually understand the opposing point of view, and so having a common ground at least for the conversation, and also asking why not, which enables you to be persuasive and able to advocate for your point of view if you wish to do so. So putting that together, it enables any marketeer who like take that kind of mindset to be agile, more persuasive, and resourceful. And all of that, of course, either it's in workplace or at home with families or with friends, enables you to also build a very effective communication, which can make magic, I think.
Fantastic insights, Amel, because we've read a lot of books or people who really understand marketing saying that the gold is really in the details. But unfortunately, a lot of marketers tend to be very superficial at a very high level. So as you said, you just asked one question, why? There is only one answer. But if you really don't dig into it, you won't really understand what is that factor that actually will drive the purchase decision. So this is a wonderful example that you shared with us. And I'm also trying to figure out, okay, how many whys you'll be asking at home personally. Yeah.
You should ask me how many whys my son is asking me all the time.
Okay, that's
and
a good one.
I think it's my mistake sometimes.
Great,
it's really important. It helps in all relationships, either in work or outside work.
Fascinating. Thank you so much. I mean, it's a lovely answer. And definitely my next question is more about the challenges that you faced, because now we have discussed time and time again when we meet a lot of marketers, we understand that they've been always focused on one vertical or a category. Now, for example, somebody in education will always be an educational marketer, but you have been in the skincare and also the beauty and wellness industry for a very extensive period. And now you have moved into education marketing. So I'm sure this didn't come without any challenge. So we would like to understand what are the challenges that you face personally when moving into this category.
So I'd say the very first obvious challenge is your target audience. So in beauty, we were targeting men and women because we believe men also fancy beauty and should be beautiful. But at the end of the day, you know your target audience. Your insights are clear about your target audience. In education, most of your data, most of your insights aren't about your end user, right? Your end user are the children whom you don't have much information about, and they won't wait to receive a message about the school from you, right? You are collecting information and targeting parents. And in many cases, if not all the time, one parent's needs is very different from what the children wants or desire. Right? And even a very young kid, like even like a year 1 student, they want something in the school. They are a decision maker. When they go to their school tours or like open days, they would be like, no, I like that school because it has that big swimming pool, for example, which isn't the core reason why you should be choosing a school, right? So because of that very important and distinctive challenge, sometimes the results of your campaigns or the end results aren't really very definite, aren't really very predictable. Unlike in beauty, for example, even if it's not predictable, it holds a significance in your insights. So this was one very core challenge. I knew that it will happen, but I didn't know how challenging it will be. And to link to that also, it's not just you are targeting people who aren't your end users, but you are trying to reach to a niche targeting. So even in any industry, when you want very specific results, even in beauty, there are multiple things in beauty. There is age control, there is laser hair removal, there is the plastic surgery. There are so many things. You don't target people who are interested in all beauty, right? You target people who are interested in age control, for example, or even more niche, people who are interested in Botox and fillers. That kind of niche targeting is a challenge. So imagine the challenge when you are trying to target year 7 students. And those aren't just the students, those are the parents and the students. So we tend to become more strategic in our thinking, crafting messages that can appeal to parents as well as students, and using platforms that also can reach to the students as well as the parents. This is a very big challenge because all your marketing depends on your targeting, right?
Definitely.
And the second thing that I discovered over time was the time frame. So digital marketing requires time to run campaigns, to be optimized, and to show results. In many cases, to support admission goals, you don't have time. You don't have time. There are certain things that either needs to happen now or they don't make sense to run them ahead of time. Like, for example, having an open day campaign, right? Open day campaign is something that even as a parent, I won't sign up for an open day 3 months in advance.
Definitely.
Right? Which is, I believe, in my opinion, the minimum time to run a campaign.
Exactly.
So having these campaigns, which requires short time period to run with very little insights and little optimization, is also very tricky. So those are the biggest 2 challenges that I faced personally. And
couldn't agree more on what you said, because at the end of the day, whatever said and done, each of us as parents, I also have 2 kids. So when we think about a school, sometimes we try to figure out what is ideal for each child, because one is different to another. The capabilities are different. What they like, dislike has a big impact on the outcome of the school choice, right? Now, as you said, an open day, the child is there and they say they don't like the school, then it's going to definitely impact the decision. And how do you actually persuade the parents is the biggest challenge compared to a wellness or a beauty industry. And the second aspect of things, now, when it comes to education, definitely parents start much early. So as an education marketing company, that is what we have also realized. Like, generally your decision starts 12 months ago. You really start thinking about it, but you're not ready for the purchase decision. But as you said, it's not ideal to run an open day campaign 12 months before because it's not going to give you any results. So the challenge of the marketer is to catch whatever they can within that very short span of time. So which is not an easy task to do. So definitely I can relate to the challenges, and we see that you're coping up really well with whatever you're doing so far. So it's really great to have those insights. Okay, now slowly moving into how you manage your personal life and your work life. Now, you've been continuously in the marketing journey for some time, and I also see that you have taken a career break in between. And then once a person takes a career break, for example, especially a mom, sometimes they find themselves very difficult to come out of this again and then restart their career. But you've done it successfully, right? So what are some of the tips to the possible moms who are watching this, right? What is your advice? What are the things that you actually drove you to actually bounce back?
I don't like to generalize any personal experience, to be very honest, because there are lots of variables that influence one's decision and confidence in taking that decision as
100%,
well.
100%.
When just very important thing is to remember that you aren't alone. You aren't the first mom,
Definitely.
like working mom to be, and you won't be the last.
Yes.
You must just embrace, like, this is something I didn't know myself until I actually went back to the workplace, which is we come with lots of people skills
Yes.
that may take many years for any woman or even any man to develop.
Definitely.
But for any mom, just once you become a mom, it's installed in you. You are also born the day your baby is born.
Yes.
I think risk management to the roof.
Yes, yes.
Creativity
Yes.
in how you solve problems. Which like grows with you as your baby grows. And your time management is no like other job.
It's
in the
crazy.
world.
Yeah. And also one more thing, critical thinking.
Critical thinking, of course. And like ability to persuade others. Like
100%.
if you can persuade your little 2 years old with something, that's an achievement. You
Absolutely.
can persuade a CEO.
Absolutely.
So those people skills and those talents are things that you really have to have them.
Yes.
Once you become a mom or even once you become a dad.
Definitely.
But of course with mom it's more because we spend more time with kids. So those set of skills sets you apart from anyone else who didn't have this experience.
Yes.
And you should trust that this adds to you, to your other set of skills. So this is one thing. Other than that, you should also understand what are you fearing. Are you fearing things that are in your control? Like, for example, you have been so far away from the workplace now, so you doubt your ability to cope back, you doubt your understanding to the industry, you doubt that you aren't up to the market trends and consumer behavior that is happening. Those are all things in your control, and you can take action to overcome them. Or are you fearing things that aren't in your control, like how people will perceive you? Like, for example, I took a career break, but that didn't even last for 1 year.
100%.
So if I start fearing, oh, people will say you didn't even spend time with your son, this is only in their minds. If I bother myself thinking too much about it, I won't go anywhere. I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying this is wrong. It just depends on everyone's experience. So other people's perception doesn't really matter too much to you. It's the same like even perception of changing from one place to another, or getting married early, or getting married older, or it's just a perception. And then there is, again, another thing that isn't 100% in your control, like the work culture of whatever place you are applying to. Will it fit with you and your new needs or not? And these are things that you can discover when you sit with the recruiter or you sit with your direct manager, like in an interview, and having an open discussion. It really helped me a lot when I went for interviews to ask about the culture of the place, to understand if there will be long working hours or flexible hours. And maybe being in education helps. It's not that we work less, but kids are being a priority also. They understand that. So these are things that, like, as I said, you need to first identify what are you fearing from, see what you can control and what you cannot control. And if you trust that you are 70-80% ready to go back, then go for it.
Definitely.
You won't really find out unless you
do it.
Exactly.
So actually, to rephrase one of the things that you said, which I really found impactful, is that being a mother is also like a different skill set that you develop, right? Whatever skills, I mean, it's not a joke, like you seriously develop these skill sets. And to anyone who's watching, have that confidence, because you have gained a skill. Even if you are managing kids at home, it's a different skill set altogether. And definitely, as you said, until you do it, you won't know it. So go all out and try doing it for yourself. So then you break away from all these glass ceilings, as we call. So the next question that we are moving on to is, we all know how fast the digital marketing ecosystem is kind of evolving. And now people are actually moving from a lot of traditional marketing to more of digital marketing, especially in the developed parts of the world. And Middle East is no exception. And one of the challenges that most marketers have is digital marketing, let's say 5 years ago, didn't evolve at the pace it's evolving today. With AI technology, what you had with ChatGPT 3 months ago is not what you have today.
Yeah.
And with all the other ecosystems, let it be Google search, let it be YouTube, whatever it is, this is evolving at a rapid pace. So what kind of challenge or demand does it put on a marketer, especially when you're managing such a big brand and you always have a lot of new things to do?
This, as you truly said, like it's moving very fast. So when ChatGPT launched, for example, if I didn't have the type of connections I have on LinkedIn, reading their reviews, looking into what others are commenting on it
100%.
from different areas in the world. It's not just in your workplace or in UAE, but in different areas in the world, they are thinking about it differently. And you find people from different fields commenting on how this is impacting their work.
Yeah.
So reading all of this together and then having the curiosity to find out more helps you to stay up to the trend, to see how this can impact your work as well. So for example, we use Canva now. Canva and AI are kind of integrated together,
yes.
and it can ease your job. So it's, again, like I remember like when ChatGPT became a buzz, everyone was feeling it's going to take their own job. And that's not true at all. Like it just helps you work smarter and not harder. Like certain things you can give it to ChatGPT and you think that, okay, someone else is talking to me, like I'm not taking it as it is. And that's only when it comes to copywriting. But again, like in photography, it's making its advancement. In data, it's making its advancement. So just staying up to date and always in connection with people who are interested in the same subject, I think it becomes very rewarding to you. As a person also, like you can use it also in your life.
Definitely.
In your workplace.
The more and more discussions we have on this topic, right, what I'm actually advocating is if you want an easy go life, marketing is not a career for you anymore. Because if you are really up for the fast paced game, then marketing is for you. Because as you correctly said, you have to do a lot of exploration. You have to be curious about the new things. You have to actually ask a lot of whys, right? You have to also have that connection on LinkedIn. You have to have your session to take new courses, update yourself very frequently. So if there is anyone who's not up for this, then ideally they shouldn't be in marketing.
And we are very lucky. Like 5 years ago, virtual meetings weren't a thing. Online webinars weren't a thing. If we are to thank COVID for anything, it is for that, for like leap that we had since that time, which became kind of a norm. You don't have to physically be in the event to get the knowledge or to meet people. Now you can have multiple online webinars. I think last month there were like at least 5-6 very valuable webinars on LinkedIn where you meet people on that chat asking questions that kind of pops in your mind at the same time, and you look at different answers and people are commenting. Like you would think like, okay, people won't type things, they will be tired of typing. But no, like if they are interested, they will do it and you will learn a lot from it. So like there are now a lot of options than 5 years ago for marketeers also to grow their knowledge.
You know, the kind of involvement is what matters at the end of the day, as you said, because you have access to global thought leaders on any subject, which you didn't have before COVID, definitely. So I think COVID was a blessing in disguise in some ways. Certainly we can agree on that. Now with all this digitalization and the changes that are taking place in this ecosystem, Amel, where do you see the education industry in the UAE moving in the next 5 years?
So it took me a lot of thought, this question. I wish I can hear it from someone else who is much more experienced in the industry. And that is because your traditional classroom now is not traditional anymore. When I visit school and I see students learning about coding, 3D printing, robotics, hear about introduction of financial literacy in some curricula, it makes you think like, where are we going? Like what is expected from these students also. It's becoming very sophisticated. It's not at all traditional. And to add to this, UAE had invested this year 2% funding into education, more than the average GCC market, and double what UK, US, and Germany combined as an average have invested in education. So you see also the country is very committed to the advancement in education, and this just makes you think, like, where is it going to be? And not in 5 years, but in the next year, in the next 2 years. So I would love to hear the answer to your question from a more experienced professional in the field, because it leaves me speechless, honestly. It's moving very fast, it's transforming drastically, and it's not what the market needs today or in the next 2-3 years, it's what the market needs in the next 10 years even.
Definitely.
It's preparing students for that. And UAE being a hub, a magnet now for a lot of investors, a lot of teaching talents, adds to that as well.
Definitely.
So I hope in your next interview I find this answer.
Definitely. Honestly, I think you're being humble about it, because whatever data that you shared about the UAE's focus more on the education market here is your understanding, your perception. Because at the end of the day, what we want to actually give our audience is your perception of the particular topic. So experience, you are definitely experienced to kind of comment on this. And as you said, I hope I would be able to fulfill your wish in bringing someone who's more knowledgeable and who's extremely experienced to discuss this topic very soon. And also, Amel, now with all the digitalization and the connected ecosystem, you have naturally started gathering a lot of data. Now, if you look at the data a marketer had 10 years back and the kind of data he or she has now, there is a big difference. So putting all this data into a structured manner and making wise decisions or informed decisions has become a challenge on its own. As a marketer, how do you actually go about this? Because it can be really challenging for someone.
So as you rightfully said, like, integrating all this data, which isn't always in one place, is the biggest challenge. The only way I see it is to centralize all of this and have like a customized reports for marketeers that they can rely on. But this comes with a lot of cost and a lot of effort, of course. A lot of companies do invest in it, like having very sophisticated CRMs and so on. But also relying on agencies is becoming increasingly more important. So a lot of agencies have their own dashboards that actually provides clients with real-time visualized data that can help marketers. And this is what we need. We need to know exactly what impacted what and what is the results now, to be able to report this and action upon it. So I think the easiest way is to rely on the agencies when it comes to digital marketing data, and it's also what sets one agency from another. It's the type of dashboard that provides you, the type of data they can integrate in the dashboard. So in my opinion, this would be the best thing and the most effective for the time being.
Definitely. And one of the things that you told, right, getting all this data organized into a single source of truth within a company is no easy task, because it's a very expensive affair. And that is when you can actually rely on a lot of digital marketing companies for data, because most of them have the expertise to build that, and also like they have their own dashboards and interfaces to present this. So I think that's a wonderful take, especially for a lot of marketers who are trying to figure out this challenge, because sometimes you go with expensive solution to your management, but sometimes you see that CRM is one of the least fast moving things within a company, because it's not only one stakeholder, it's many people who have to come together.
There are a lot of departments involved. It's not something that you can do it in a couple of months.
We've spoken a lot about work, and I can understand the kind of challenges, the amount of effort that you need to put in to keep up to the pace in your daily work life. So being a mom, we also spoke about this a little earlier, and managing this work. How do you manage this thing called work-life balance?
There is no work-life balance, I'd say. Almost all moms, all working moms, live with a sense of guilt all the time.
Yeah.
And I think we shouldn't, but you cannot not feel this way.
Yeah.
The only thing, like as I mentioned before, like again, like for moms who are going back to work, is to understand the culture of the place and if it's a good fit for them, right? So like having a supportive team, having an understanding team is something that is important.
Yes.
To at least feel that you are close to that work-life balance. I have a very supportive team, my manager, my co-workers, and then there is your at home also, you need a support system. My husband is amazing, honestly. He understands my aspirations, he understands my role, he understands this is who I am.
Yes.
And he is always there for me. He is very accommodating. So having a support system at home, be it a mom or be it a husband or being a partner, is very, very important, to be honest, because this is a person who is dedicated for your well-being. Regardless of whatever.
Yeah.
So if you don't have this, it is going to be difficult. You need to have that first, and then you try to balance everything else.
I'm happy that you're blessed with such people around you.
I'm very blessed.
And you also spoke about aspirations a while ago. Your husband understands your aspirations. So what does Amel's future aspirations look like? This is not an interview question.
Well, I try to equip myself with as many skills and many experiences as possible in diverse industries, in hope that when I am about 45 years old, I can have my own marketing consultancy agency.
Wow.
I'm not sure if this will still be there 5 years from today. Will be my dream, but this is what I wish I can do. I hope I can help other corporations and other agencies in having a sustainable growth through marketing, and also mentor younger marketers.
Fantastic, fantastic, and we'd be more than happy to help you in any possible way, right?
It's
in
a
that
little
journey.
bit far from today. So.
Definitely, but we wish you all the best,
Thank
for
you
this goal to be achieved,
Thank
and your intention of actually helping other corporations achieve success with the expertise that you built over the years. Definitely is a great aspiration to have.
Thank you.
Yeah. And now we are actually coming to the conclusion of our interview. We've spoken a lot. So there are a lot of young marketers or young people who want to get into marketing in the education industry watching this, right? So what is your advice to those budding marketers or people who aspire to become a marketer one day?
For any field that you are going for any industry that you are going for, there will always be challenges. So you need to understand the real challenges and dynamics of that industry. And if it's about education, then you need to actually build this kind of relationship with educators and with admission team to basically know what is the school's USP, how you can tailor your strategies to best serve the goal of the school.
Yes.
And be authentic. Authenticity is something that all consumers can feel.
Yes.
You can tell if the photo was staged or it is a real kid who is having fun and happy at the school or learning or enjoying the school.
Yeah.
And this is just one very simple example. So being authentic, being agile is something that is very important for all marketeers to pay attention to when they are doing anything or even crafting the marketing message.
That's a very different take to what I've heard from all our previous guests. So thank you very much for that. It was a great discussion, Amel. We learned so much about you and I really enjoyed talking to you today. So I hope you also had the same feeling talking to our audience.
It's a very new experience for me and I'm happy that I decided to come and have that interview with you. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
And we are glad that we were the first.
Thank you.
Because it's always good to be the first, right? Because you'll always remember it.
Thank you so much.
So thank you very much for your time and honestly, it was great having you today.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you. Bye guys.